Turns out they can play pretty decent hockey when they're not playing the Florida Panthers.
Well, hard to know. That Colorado team's a total mess. They're supposed to be their best game this year. I was still less than impressed. But again, I didn't see the whole thing. Again, I was in and out with the whole thing.
6 power play goals in the game.
Right. Okay, so you scored on the power play. They scored on the power play. You controlled most of the play. Colorado is just a debacle right now. They can't play in their own end, and the TNT crew is all over them for it. So it's like you got them at a good time. Colorado is obviously a good team, but again, timing there, you got them in a good spot.
That fourth line I thought was pretty good. The Kastelik, Beecher, Koepke line. Like
they've been unbelievable.
So they've been easily your best line, which is good news and bad news. But, okay, good. There's a ceiling there. The issue with the team is the top 6, not the bottom 6. And the issue is really the second line. And even though Pastrnak, Zacha, Elias Lindholm have not exactly lit it up, they've been representative, call it. Or, okay, anyway. It's been the Coyle, Marchand, and then I get they benched Geekie last night and moved up Frederick, I think, onto that line or whoever. Like, I can't remember who they moved up there, but I think Geekie was out. It was Frederick. Marchand, to me, feels like a shadow of himself.
He is.
Showing his age. He's had, 14 different surgeries in the last couple of years. He's like 36, 37 years old. He left last night's game with spasms, is what Montgomery said. He doesn't have a goal yet this year. He has 3 assists. He had multiple chances last night. I feel like he's lost his high-end scoring touch. He doesn't look to me like the same player. Charlie Coyle, who did score last night, it was his first point of the year. He had been 0-0-0 across the board heading into last night. Then he got a goal. So he's got 1 point, 1 goal on the year. Charlie Coyle at 32, maybe starting to hit the back nine of whatever he was to begin with, which was never super high anyway. Nice, solid player. I like him. But always I felt sort of playing a little out of his element in the top 6. He's ideally a third-line center, which I think was established a couple of years ago. I felt he had the skill to be more than that, but the point production isn't there from him to be a top 6 guy, but he's your second-line center, so you got a guy playing second-line center who isn't a second-line center. You have Marchand, who's, I think, really starting to trail off, and you have no one to play on the other side. So, like, that whole second line is a complete nothing burger to me, which is a real problem. So that's what they need to address, which would be great if they had the money, except they gave it to the goalie.
They spent it all.
So this is why, folks, I didn't want to give Jeremy Swayman that contract. Because giving a goalie that contract means you can't have, players, skaters. If you're too expensive in net, you pay the price somewhere else. And where you've paid the price here is that second line. As we're just, again, watching it unfold here early, long way to go. I am okay with that top line. It's okay. It's representative. Again, some guys have popped at the bottom of the lineup, whether it's the Kastelik kid or Kastelik, Koepke, and Beecher.
Beecher's gotten better.
Fine. Good, no problem there. I'm okay with Trent Frederick somewhere in your lineup. Matt Patra had a really nice game last week, has sort of tailed off, but a young player. I'm okay with him going forward. Ideally, that's your second-line guy, if he can sort of make the next step. But then there's like 3 or 4 pieces in that forward group. It's like, nope. And you don't have the money. You don't have the roster space because you've paid the goalie. But at least Swayman got the win last night. Oh, no, that's right. That was Korpisalo. Korpisalo got the win, right?
He did,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if I noticed. That was Korpisalo, right? 70?
Yeah, you mean Korpisalo.
Korpisalo, to you. And I'm not doing any sort of victory lap because I'm not a bunch of dummies like you people who email me after one game and say, how do you like him now? I don't do that. If I were a lesser person, I would do it. I'm not doing that. I'm just pointing out, again, he was in net last night. And my prediction is by the end of the year, he'll be fine. By the end of the year. And last night he was good. Now, he made a couple of great saves. If you watch the game, there were a couple of big ones. He also had a couple. The third of the 3, the Avalanche only scored on the power play, which when you're throwing out McCarr, McKinnon, like Landon, those guys, it's like, okay, yeah, they're going to get their points. And they did, but the last of the three was he should have had. But either way,
That was the one that went through him by the left post?
Yeah,
he should have had that.
He was moving right to left.
He should have had that.
It was on the power play, but could have used a save there. Otherwise, he kept you in the game. He did his job. He was more than serviceable, and you got to win with a cheap backup goalie. There's a lot of those coming. Prediction. But this is why I don't pay the goalie. Your lineup is thin. I'd rather and you have a big, beefy, expensive decor. So between McAvoy, Hampus, Lindholm, Zadorov, and Carlo, who's not cheap, like they've spent a lot of money back there.
Big dough.
You shouldn't have to spend all that money in your decor and in net.
They might have the most expensive decor in the league.
That would surprise me, but
Maybe. I'll check.
Maybe so. All I know is last night is one of the examples that I will use to say it's not, I just don't want to be expensive in net. I can win with my backup, and I have too many other holes in my lineup.
Well, and that right wing behind Pasternak was the entire preseason, offseason. That was the spot.
They have nothing. The problem on that second line right wing is that the center isn't a second line center, and the left wing on that second line is on the decline in Brad Marchand and all sorts of patched together and banged up. So anyway, little snapshot for you there. There's your Bruins Minute.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.